Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, remains a figure of immense global fascination, even years after stepping back from her role as a senior working royal. Before she ever met Prince Harry, she was a successful actress, a humanitarian, and a vocal advocate for women's rights. However, her marriage into the British royal family in 2018 catapulted her into a stratosphere of fame that, honestly, few ever experience. This intense public interest was, at first, a source of celebration, a symbol of a modernizing monarchy. Yet it quickly morphed into something far more invasive and at times deeply unsettling, particularly within the pages of the UK's powerful tabloid press. The public's relationship with Meghan has been shaped to a large extent by the narrative spun by these media outlets. From the moment her relationship with Harry became public, she was no longer just a person, but really a character in a long-running royal drama. Every action, every word, and every choice was dissected and debated, often without the full context or nuance required for fair judgment. This constant commentary has created a cycle where the media feeds an insatiable public appetite for stories about the Duchess, ensuring she remains a permanent fixture in the headlines, whether the news is positive, negative, or simply fabricated. This relentless focus is not accidental. It is a calculated strategy. News organisations, particularly tabloids like the Daily Mail, understand that Meghan's name generates clicks, sells papers, and drives engagement. She has become a reliable source of content, a personality so polarising that articles about her are guaranteed to provoke a strong reaction. This commercial incentive overrides almost everything else, including the ethical considerations of privacy and the human cost of such perpetual scrutiny. The machine of media interest once started has proven nearly impossible to stop, following her from the UK to her new home across the Atlantic. The story of Meghan Markle and the press is therefore not just about a single individual. It is a case study in the dynamics of modern celebrity, royalty, and media power. It highlights the complex, often fraught, relationship between public figures and the press that covers them. For Meghan, the spotlight she stepped into was not just bright, but scorching, and navigating its glare has been a defining challenge of her public life. Understanding why the tabloids can't seem to let her go requires looking at the mechanics of the media, the expectations placed on royals, and the couple's own determined efforts to forge a different path. From the very beginning, the coverage of Meghan Markle by certain sections of the British press, most notably the Daily Mail, has been characterised by a distinctly negative slant. While initial reports were cautiously optimistic, the tone shifted dramatically in the run-up to and following her wedding to Prince Harry. Stories began to emerge that painted her as difficult, demanding, and out of step with the traditions of the royal family. Headlines frequently employed loaded language, creating a narrative of a disruptive outsider who was causing rifts within the Stoic institution. This portrayal stood in stark contrast to the person friends and colleagues knew her to be. These negative stories often relied on anonymous sources, hearsay, and the subtle twisting of facts to fit a predetermined angle. For example, a story about Meghan's preference for avocado toast would be framed as a symbol of her extravagant and out-of-touch lifestyle, ignoring that it is a common and simple meal. Similarly, her work ethic, once praised in her acting career, was reframed as being overly demanding or difficult within the palace context. This pattern of taking a neutral or positive attribute and spinning it into a negative one became a hallmark of the coverage, slowly but surely eroding her public image. The consistency of this negativity suggests a deliberate campaign rather than isolated instances of poor journalism. It created a feedback loop. The tabloids published critical stories, which then fueled online abuse and negative commentary, which in turn was used by the tabloids as proof of her unpopularity, justifying even more critical coverage. This cycle became inescapable for the Duchess, trapping her in a public narrative that she had little power to control. Even her charitable work and successful patronages were often overshadowed by trivial, critical reports about her fashion choices or alleged breaches of minor royal protocols. The reasons for this hostility are complex, touching on issues of race, class and nationality. As an American, biracial and divorced woman, Meghan did not fit the traditional mould of a royal bride, and this difference was often exploited by the press. Some commentators have argued that underlying xenophobia and racism fueled the uniquely harsh criticism she faced. By constantly highlighting her differences and framing them as problems, the tabloids created a villainous caricature that was far more profitable and sensational than the reality of a woman simply trying to adapt to a new and incredibly challenging life. One of the most telling aspects of the media's treatment of Meghan is the stark contrast it presents when compared to the coverage of her sister-in-law, Catherine, the Princess of Wales. While both women married into the royal family and live under intense public scrutiny, the nature of that scrutiny has been profoundly different. From the outset, Catherine was largely portrayed as a perfect English rose, embodying the grace and quiet compliance expected of a future queen consort. Her actions have consistently been framed in a positive or neutral light, even when they were remarkably similar to Meghan's. A clear example of this double standard can be seen in numerous side-by-side comparisons of headlines. When Catherine cradled her baby bump during pregnancy, it was described as a tender and maternal gesture. When Meghan did the same, some outlets questioned it, labelling it as a vain act of virtue signalling or a desperate plea for attention. Likewise, Catherine's family has been celebrated as a source of stability and middle-class values, while Meghan's family, particularly her estranged father, was relentlessly pursued by the press to generate embarrassing and painful stories that were then used to criticize her. This disparity extends to fashion, lifestyle, and even food choices. Articles that praised Catherine for eating avocados were published around the same time that other articles linked Meghan's enjoyment of the fruit to human rights abuses and drought. This Kate-praising, Meghan-bashing narrative became so predictable that it was impossible to ignore. It created a dynamic where one woman was consistently elevated while the other was systematically torn down. This selective reporting served to reinforce the idea that Meghan was the problematic one, the one who didn't belong, while Catherine represented the ideal. The underlying reasons for this divergent treatment are a subject of much debate. Some argue it reflects a preference for the familiar. Catherine, as a white British woman from an upper-middle-class background, was a more comfortable fit for the establishment. Meghan, as a biracial American, challenged traditional norms and, in doing so, became an easy target for a conservative press resistant to change. Whatever the cause, the effect was clear. It created a divisive public narrative that pitted two women against each other and subjected Meghan to a level of sustained negativity that no other modern royal has endured. Faced with an unrelenting barrage of negative and often inaccurate stories, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle eventually decided to break with the long-standing royal tradition of never complain, never explain. they took the unprecedented step of directly challenging the media outlets they believed were responsible for the harassment. This fight back began with powerful personal statements and culminated in multiple legal battles against major UK newspaper publishers. This proactive stance marked a significant departure from the royal family's historically passive approach to press intrusion, signalling that the Sussexes were no longer willing to suffer in silence. One of the most notable legal actions was Meghan's lawsuit against the publisher of the Mail on Sunday for invasion of privacy and copyright infringement. The case centred on the newspaper's decision to publish a private handwritten letter she had sent to her estranged father. Meghan argued that the letter was deeply personal and its publication was a painful and unlawful breach of her privacy. She ultimately won the case, with the court ruling that she had a reasonable expectation that the contents of the letter would remain private. This victory was a landmark moment, proving that even powerful media giants could be held accountable. In addition to legal action, the couple has used their own platforms to tell their side of the story. Their bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey in March 2021 was a pivotal moment, allowing them to detail the immense pressure and lack of support they experienced. Meghan spoke candidly about the toll the relentless negative press took on her mental health, while Harry drew parallels between his wife's treatment and the hounding his mother, Princess Diana, faced. Their Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan further expanded on these themes, providing evidence of the coordinated negative campaign against them and explaining their decision to step back from royal duties. These actions have, of course, been met with further criticism from the very outlets they are challenging, who accuse them of seeking privacy while simultaneously courting publicity. However, the Sussexes have been clear that their goal is not to escape public life entirely, but to reshape their relationship with the press they view as toxic and destructive. They are not fighting against scrutiny, but against what they see as defamation, harassment, and the dangerous spread of misinformation. Their battle is a high-stakes effort to reclaim their own narrative and set a new precedent for how public figures can protect themselves. In a dramatic move that really stunned the world, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announced in early 2020 that they would be stepping back as senior working members of the royal family. Their desire for a more peaceful and independent life led them to relocate, eventually settling in Montecito, California. This move was a clear attempt to escape the suffocating environment of the UK tabloid press and to create a safe haven for their growing family. They hoped that by removing themselves from the royal rota system and the daily duties of monarchy, the intense media focus would finally subside. However, the geographical distance did little to deter the tabloids. The media lens simply followed them across the Atlantic, with the Daily Mail and others continuing their obsessive coverage. Headlines now focused on their new life in America, scrutinizing their business deals with Netflix and Spotify, their security arrangements, and their parenting choices. The narrative remained largely negative, casting their pursuit of financial independence as a greedy monetization of their royal status. The physical escape had not translated into a media escape. They were still prime targets. The nature of the intrusion also evolved. Instead of just negative articles, the couple has faced aggressive paparazzi who use drones and helicopters to capture images of them at their private residence. In one frightening incident in New York City in 2023, they were involved in what their spokesperson described as a near-catastrophic car chase as they were pursued by paparazzi after a public event. The incident drew chilling parallels to the circumstances surrounding Princess Diana's death and served as a stark reminder that the dangers they sought to escape were still very much present, even in America. Despite the ongoing challenges, their life in California has allowed them to reclaim a degree of control. Through their Archewell Foundation and production company, they have been able to focus on causes they are passionate about and produce content that reflects their values. They can now speak out on issues without the constraints of royal protocol and engage with media on their own terms. While the tabloid gaze remains fixed upon them, their move to the United States represents a fundamental shift in their ability to shape their own lives, even if they must continue to fight for their privacy every step of the way. The relentless and often hostile attention from the press has exacted a significant human toll on Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. This is not simply a matter of dealing with unflattering headlines. It is about the profound psychological impact of being subjected to a global campaign of criticism, misinformation, and personal attacks. In their interview with Oprah Winfrey, Meghan revealed the devastating effect it had on her mental health, admitting she had experienced suicidal thoughts during her time as a working royal. She described feeling completely isolated and unprotected by the institution she had married into, while the media storm raged outside. This constant state of high alert takes a heavy toll on anyone's well-being. Prince Harry has spoken about the anxiety and paranoia that come with knowing you are constantly being watched, followed, and judged. He has linked the media's treatment of his wife directly to the trauma he experienced as a child with the death of his mother, Princess Diana, who was also hounded by the press. For Harry, protecting his family from a similar fate became his #1 priority, driving his decision to step away from the royal family and confront the media head-on. The scrutiny has also strained their relationships with others, including members of the royal family. The press has often manufactured or amplified stories of rifts and feuds, particularly between the Sussexes and the Prince and Princess of Wales, creating a public narrative of family division. This not only adds personal stress, but also complicates family dynamics, as private matters are played out on a public stage. The need to constantly be on guard against leaks and betrayals from those who might speak to the tabloids creates an environment of distrust that can be incredibly damaging to personal connections. Ultimately, the human cost is the loss of a normal life. Simple activities like taking their children to the park or going out for a quiet dinner become major security operations, fraught with the risk of paparazzi intrusion. The freedom to make mistakes, to be imperfect, or to simply be private is taken away. Every move is recorded, every word is analyzed, and every choice is judged on a global scale. This immense pressure robs individuals of their peace and security, turning their lives into a performance for public consumption, which is a heavy price to pay for public service or marrying into royalty. In the face of relentless media pressure, Meghan and Harry have taken deliberate and strategic steps to protect themselves and reclaim control over their own stories. Their approach has been multifaceted, combining legal action, direct communication, and a careful curation of their public life. By refusing to passively accept the narratives created for them, they are attempting to build a new model for public figures navigating the modern media landscape. This involves setting firm boundaries and using their own platforms to speak directly to the public, bypassing the often distorted filter of the tabloid press. A key part of their strategy has been to sever formal ties with the UK tabloids that they believe have been most harmful. In 2020, their communications team sent a letter to the editors of The Sun, the Daily Mail, the Daily Mirror and the Daily Express, announcing a new policy of zero engagement. This did not mean a ban on all media, but a refusal to cooperate with outlets known for publishing false and invasive stories. Instead, they have chosen to engage with trusted journalists and reputable outlets that adhere to higher ethical standards, ensuring their message is conveyed more accurately. Their ventures into content creation with Netflix and Spotify are another crucial element of this strategy. Their docuseries Harry and Meghan and Harry's memoir Spare provided them with an unprecedented opportunity to tell their story in their own words, in its full context. While these projects were criticized by some, they allowed the couple to present their perspective on events that had been widely misreported for years. This direct-to-audience approach empowers them to shape their own narrative, offering a powerful counterpoint to the one constructed by their detractors in the press. Looking forward, a more respectful and fair media environment could transform the public conversation. If reporting were based on facts rather than sensationalism, and if the privacy and mental well-being of individuals were prioritized over clicks and sales, the relationship between the press and public figures could become less adversarial. For Meghan and Harry, this would mean the freedom to pursue their humanitarian work and personal lives without the constant threat of vilification. A media landscape built on respect and understanding would not only benefit the Sussexes, but would also foster a healthier, more informed public discourse for everyone.